You've already tried to change. Maybe you tried to quit smoking, started going to the gym, wanted to stop scrolling your phone at night, wake up earlier, stop procrastinating, and you actually tried. But something always went wrong. 2 weeks in, back to square one, and you told yourself, I just don't have enough willpower. I'm lazy. That's just who I am. Stop right there. Because what's happening to you is not a character flaw. It's not laziness. And it is absolutely not your fault. Your brain is keeping you stuck on purpose. And it's doing it to save you. Stay until the end. Because in the final part, I'll show you the only way out of this trap. And it completely contradicts everything you've ever been told. Imagine you're driving home on a familiar road. You're not thinking about the turns. Your hands just move. You could be thinking about something completely different, and you'd still get home. This is called automated behavior, and your brain is obsessed with it. Why? Because your brain is the most expensive organ in your body. It consumes up to 20% of all your energy, while weighing only 2% of your body mass. So evolution gave it one golden rule. If it's already familiar, don't waste energy. Switch to autopilot. Neuroscientists call these neural habits. Every time you repeat the same action, neurons connect a little more firmly. After dozens of repetitions, they fuse into a full highway. Fast, automatic, nearly unbreakable. And here's the paradox. The same system that lets you ride a bike after years without practice, that same system keeps you in toxic relationships, in a job you hate, in habits you desperately want to quit. Your brain doesn't distinguish between good habits and bad ones. For it, there is only familiar and unfamiliar. Familiar means safe. Unfamiliar means threat. That's where the trap begins. There are 3 specific mechanisms your brain uses to stop you from changing. And you've probably felt every single one. You just didn't know what they were called. Mechanism 1. Status quo bias. Scientists ran a simple experiment. They gave people a mug, then offered to trade it for a chocolate bar of roughly the same value. Most people refused, not because the mug was better, but because it was already theirs. Already familiar. The brain treats any change as a potential loss, even when the change is objectively better. This isn't irrational. It's a protective mechanism millions of years old. In the prehistoric world, the unknown often meant danger. Those who didn't change their habits without a very good reason survived more often. But now this same mechanism slaps your hand every time you try to start something new. Mechanism 2. The anxiety loop. When you think about making a change, your brain activates a region called the amygdala. This is your internal security guard. It scans, safe or not. New job? Amygdala says, wait, what if you fail? Leave a relationship? What if it only gets worse? Start your own business? What if nobody buys? And the moment that anxiety appears, your brain floods your system with cortisol, the stress hormone. It literally impairs the function of your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for rational decisions and long-term thinking. So when you need clear thinking the most, your brain deliberately switches it off to keep you where it's safe. You're not weak. You're just caught in a loop. Mechanism 3. Prediction error. This is the most cunning of the 3. Your brain is constantly building forecasts. What will happen next? How people will react? What you will feel? And when reality doesn't match the prediction, it registers that as an error, as something unpleasant. Change is nothing but prediction errors. The brain doesn't know what's coming. It can't build an accurate forecast. And that discomfort alone is enough to make it retreat, even when the change is objectively good. That's why a new gym feels awkward for the first 2 weeks. A new job feels foreign for a month. A new city feels lonely for half a year. Not because it's bad, because it's unknown. Your brain says, error. But what's actually happening? is growth. And this is where most people make the biggest mistake. They think, I just need more willpower, more motivation, more discipline, another challenge, another Monday, another promise to myself. But research from Stanford University showed something strange. The harder a person tries not to think about something, or forces themselves to do something, the more powerfully the brain snaps back to the old pattern. Scientists called this the rebound effect. Willpower is a finite resource. Like a muscle, it gets tired. And by the evening, after work, after hundreds of small decisions, there's almost nothing left. That's why diets break down at night. That's why I'll never do that again becomes just this once. Fighting your brain with willpower is like pushing a boulder uphill with your bare hands. Possible, but not for long. So what actually works? The answer contradicts everything you've been told. Not more effort, less. Neuroscientists call it neuroplasticity through low-resistance repetition. But in plain terms, it sounds like this. Make the new behavior so small that your brain doesn't have time to get scared. Researcher Bjarne Brugger ran experiments with people who wanted to exercise. One group was told, work out for an hour a day. The other group, just do one squat every morning. After 1 year, people in the second group were exercising an average of 40 minutes per day. The first group had mostly quit. Why? Because one squat doesn't trigger the amygdala. It doesn't look like a threat. The brain doesn't launch the anxiety response. It just allows it. And every time you complete that microaction, the neural pathway gets a little stronger. The new habit starts becoming familiar. And familiar means safe. You remember? You're using the brain's own mechanism against itself. But there's one more key, and it's even more important. Your brain doesn't change through effort. It changes through context. Habit research shows that behavior change is easiest during what scientists call life transitions. Moving to a new place, starting a new job, having a child. Because in those moments, the autopilot switches off. The brain is forced to build new predictions. And that's when it's most open to change. If there's no major life shift happening right now, create a small one artificially. A different route to work, a different wake-up time, a different place where you eat breakfast. These small disruptions shake up the autopilot, and they open a window where new habits take root far more easily. So, your brain is keeping you stuck. That is a fact, but it's not doing it out of malice. It's doing it to protect you. From the unknown, from mistakes, from pain. The problem is, it's stuck in the past. It's protecting you from dangers that no longer exist. You're not weak. You're not lazy. You're simply a human being with a brain that is millions of years old. And that brain has to live in a world where everything changes every single day. But now you know how it works. And knowledge is the first step out of the trap. Not willpower. Not motivation. Not another Monday. Understanding. If this video resonated with you, hit like. Not for me. For your algorithm, so YouTube shows this to someone else who needs to hear it. And write in the comments, what one micro change will you make today? See you next time.